Hello everyone, hope everyone is doing good. In this video, I'm going to explain how to import data in MATLAB. How to import data, how do you actually save data, read data, and plot data to squeeze out some interpretable and actionable information. So I'm going to walk you through the step-by-step procedure on how to import data in MATLAB. So we are going to go to your website where you have got a data set where you can download the data set and import it in MATLAB. So this video is particularly for those who have got a temperamental proclivity to do research, and not only for people who have some temperamental proclivity to do research, but also if you are interested in data analytics and data exploratory analysis. Of course, you want to, if you are at the very budding stage, you can check through this video on how to import data in MATLAB. So first I will go to the website where you can actually download the data set. So I'm using DAISY dataset. You just type that in Google. It leads you to the website. Well, you go to this website and click Enter DAISY. So you have got a data set from process industry systems. If you're a mechanical engineer and if you have got some proclivity towards mechanical systems, you can check through some of these cool data sets. And if you have got a profession in biomedical systems and if you're interested in data analytics, data analysis, then you can check through some of a couple of data sets are given pertinent to biomedical systems. Now, what I would do is I would download data set from a process industry system. Here you can see the second one is the data of a glass furnace. I think it is by Philips company. So it should be quite authoritative, I guess. So let us read the description. Well, in the description, of course, they have measured for 1,247 samples. And there are three inputs. The first input is heating, the second input is cooling, and the third one is heating. What is that they are actually heating? Well, I don't know. You have to, if you want to delve deeper into the subject matter, you can check through the reference. And they are measuring the output. I think it is from the temperature sensors. They are actually measuring the outputs. Okay, I think up to this is sufficient now. We will go back. And what we are actually going to do is we are going to download this data set. So all you have to do is download, click this button, it automatically gets downloaded, and you extract this .dat file. I have already extracted the file and I have kept this particular data set in my desktop. I have created a separate folder and I have extracted this particular data set. Now I'm going to import this data set in MATLAB. So let me go to MATLAB now. Open MATLAB, open the command window. I'll close this one. That's right. So I'm going to import the data set which is in the desktop. So I'm going to the specific folder where I have saved the data set. So this is the data that I want to import. I think the computer is thinking about the command and it is generating the data set so that it can be readily imported in MATLAB. Now you can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 columns. Now you can import each of these columns, or if you want to import only the first two columns, well, you can select the first two columns and you can import. Well, here there is an option. You can import this as column vectors, which means if you want to give a separate name to the first column, you can say that, of course, this is input, right? This is input 1. That's what we found in the description. You give the name as I1. Which obviously stands for input 1. So I am typing I1, I click the enter button. Well, it's renamed. This can be I2, which stands for input 2, and that is renamed. And outputs can be renamed as O1, O2, O3, O4, all the way up to O7. That's what we read in the description, that the first three are inputs. This is one way to import, but the cool command that I would prefer is not the column vectors but the numeric matrix. In this way, you just have to rename this matrix. You can keep this matrix name as glass furnace, this entire matrix, this entire 1247 rows, and of course you have got 10 columns. If you want to rename this, as simply call this as G matrix, for obvious reasons, because we are dealing with glass furnace. So just type G and press the enter button. Now all I'm going to do is import this G matrix. Click import. That's right, it's loading the data. It comes in the MATLAB. That's right. So I will go to the command window now. Okay, fine. Now I want to load this data first. So let me give you a name to this data set. I'll say load glass furnace. You watch on the left side here, if I just type this command load glass furnace, watch it on the left side, it creates a .mat file which actually represents the data file, right? So I should not be typing load glass furnace, I'm sorry. It's save glass furnace. That's the name that I am going to give. Of course, I will be using the command load glass furnace. That's going to be our next command. So the save glass furnace, it creates a separate .dat file on the left hand side. You watch it. I'm clicking the enter button. It creates a MAT file, which stands for the data file. Now let me load the data set. It's load glass furnace. The data is now loaded. Now I can check what's the size of the G matrix. It's 1247 rows and 10 columns. The other way to check is I can use the whos command. It just tells you what is there in the matrix, right? Always it's a good practice to know what you are actually importing, whatever data that are present. It gives you some information, some idea on what you are actually importing into the MATLAB. That's right. Now let me create a separate M file. So just to manipulate this data and plot the graph, I'm going to create a separate M file which is save glass. That's the M file that I'm creating. I'm sorry, save glass.m. It's the M file that I'm creating. So I will go to this M file. I'll get rid of all these things. Okay. Now what I will do is I will first load the data set. It's load glass furnace. That's our data set. That's the data set that I want to load. And I want to check what's the size of the G matrix. So let me check if this actually works. If I click the run button, it should actually work. So let me check. Of course, it's giving us the size of the G matrix. So it's working perfectly fine. Now I'm going to plot the graph. So what I will do is I'm going to plot a graph. The first column of the G matrix is the input. The fourth column is one of the outputs. There are 3 inputs and I think there are 7 outputs because it's a 10 column matrix. We have got 1247 rows. So what I will do, I will pull out all of the rows. I plot the graph by using between the first input, and I'm going to plot the graph by pulling out all of the rows and the fourth column matrix, which is the output. So the column 1 represents the input and the column 4 represents the output. So what I'm actually basically doing here is I am actually plotting a graph between column 1 and column 4. Why? Because column 1, it is input. Column 4, it's output. Now what I will also do is I will also explain how to plot a graph between column 1 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So for each of the outputs for column 1, what is the type of graph that I'm going to get? I will also plot that. So that's it. and I want this graph to be, let us say that red in color and with a line width of magnitude 2. Okay, fine. I want the background to be set as color, background to be of black color, so that it gives me a very cool appearance. It adds aesthetic appeal. So let me run this command. If there are no errors, I think our graph should come. Okay, I think there is a mistake. I think maybe in the set GCA command, I think there is a mistake, and I am able to spot the mistake. I think I have to use, yes, that's right. Now I think it should work. Okay, fine. So the background color is black, and of course the graph is red. I don't know how do you interpret this? Well, you have to delve deeper into the subject matter in order to understand the information that this graph is trying to communicate. But let us try to plot now between column 1, and let us try to plot for column 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Shall we try this? So instead of plotting for column 4, I am just giving the name I, which means when I is equal to 1, when I is equal to 4, it plots column 4. When I is equal to 5, it plots column 5. When I is equal to 6, column 6, so on and so forth, all the way up to 10. So I'm using the for loop now for I is equal to, it starts from 4 is to, with an increment of 1 is to 10. So we have got 10 columns, and I'm going to use the for loop from I is equal to 4 is to 1 is to 10. That's right. And I am ending this loop. This should work, but wait a minute. You have to use the subplot command, because you are not just going to plot one graph. How many graphs that you want to plot? Well, you want to plot 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You want to plot 7 graphs. So what I will do is I will create 4 rows and 4 column matrix, and I'm going to type I, which means when I is equal to 4, it just plots the graph in the specific place for I is equal to 4. Okay, so this is it. So it should work. So let us try this. Let me run this command. That's it. So it's plotting the graph. So for I is equal to 4, I think the other graphs, I think there are some kind of information that these graphs are trying to communicate. So once you understand the exact physical meaning, you can try to squeeze out some actionable, interpretable information out of this. So this is how you import data, and how you read the data, how you save the data, how you actually plot different graphs by cleverly manipulating the data that you have imported. So this is for now. So thank you so much for your patience. Thank you.